Good afternoon, everyone. I am stepping in from a funeral. This was a very solemn occasion from one of our most treasured professors, Dr. Joan Barracks. She was our Vice President for Academic Affairs. So I have been blessed by the church. I am well ordained to come and speak with you today. And I am missing a speech that was supposed to be here. There we go. Thank you very, very much. Awesome. So I'm elated to speak with you because I am getting to talk about a university that I very much hold very close to my heart. Shaw University is my alma mater. So it's my undergraduate alma mater, and I came back as its 17th president to serve the university in this capacity. I did not know that this was going to happen to me. I went back to Shaw University thinking that I was going to serve as a chemistry professor, and I was promoted within that 5-year period, and now I'm being asked to lead the institution. So I'll share a few stories with you, and bear with me, as I am a storyteller. Sometimes I get off track, so if I get off track, somebody in the back just say, hey, Dr. Dubroy, let's get back on track. That works? To President Mary Moss and fellow club directors, distinguished members and guests, thank you for the invitation to address such a distinguished assemblage. I'm honored to speak before North Carolina's oldest civic club and to be in the midst of accomplished civic, business, and community leaders. Congratulations on turning 102 years old. I am truly ecstatic because my father was a member of the Rotary Club back in Jamaica. So it's a very familiar audience for me. You look good for 102 years old. You don't look a day over 50. I see the faces of many of my friends here in the audience, both existing and new. I want to let you in on a little secret. I didn't inherit a well-oiled machine. I'll be the first to tell you that when I took the presidency at Shaw University, I walked into a few challenges. Declining enrollment was one of them. Deferred maintenance, academic programming, and those that double deferred was actually intentional. Academic programming that needed to be responsive to marketplace needs, and a less than stellar public image. Not to mention that I started during our 150th year, or sesquicentennial year. I was 34 at the time, now I'm 42. We age in dog years at Shaw sometimes. But it caused some to be hesitant about the vision that I had for the university. And I'll be honest, during my first week on the job, I experienced a student protest. And I was wondering, hey, what's all the fuss about? But we managed to work it out, and here I stand 1 year later. I'm pleased to announce that I'm back for another year. Actually, you're guaranteed at least 4 more years because I have a 5-year contract at Shaw. So what we're looking at is stable leadership at the university. At Shaw, we had about 3 leadership changes in 5 years. You can imagine what that did to the institution as far as sustainability is concerned, not only sustainability of vision, but of processes as well. So we've got to be on a steady trajectory, and I committed to the university to doing just that, so that we can ensure that we are a long-standing community partner. If you've been following Shaw, you'll know that we have what's called an epic mindset. We started off last year with a mantra called "This is Shaw University Epic," Shaw U Epic, where E stands for entrepreneurial thinking, and P stands for the presence that we will have not only at the local level, but nationally and globally. I is for innovation, because we're committed to being innovative in all facets of the university, and C is for customer care, because we're committed to the internal customer and the external customer as well, ensuring that we're always giving optimal customer service. It permeates in everything that we do. We want to make sure that we have a positive public image. Shaw University serves a large percentage of first-generation college students, and 95% of them are on what we call Pell Grants. It means government aid. We want to be at the forefront of North Carolina's efforts to regain its educational edge and increase economic opportunity and mobility. We seek to create a playbook of proven innovations to help students from all family backgrounds graduate. And we encourage our campus community to experiment, to solve problems, and discover new ideas, and ensure that they have the resources and support to be able to do so. We have a talented team. I must say that I'm very pleased with where we have gone so far. Here are a few of the accomplishments that we had. In Shaw University's entire history, at our peak, we had 6,800 applications. And this past year, after instituting an electronic medium for students to apply online, we garnered over 9,000 applications, which is over an 80% increase in our application rate. In addition to that, there's another nomenclature called confirmations. This is how many students have confirmed verbally and on pen that they will be attending Shaw University. We have 114% increase in students who are confirmed to attend Shaw University. We may have a problem on our hands, but it's a good problem to have. We certainly have the capacity in our dorms, and we have the capacity in our teaching space. So for the past 6 years, Shaw has experienced a 9% decrease in enrollment, and we think that this will be our first year that we'll experience an increase in our student population. That's to the credit of the admissions team. When I started the job, I walked into a $4 million gap in the budget. Now, every CEO knows that's not an ideal situation. As a matter of fact, you want to close that budget as quickly as you possibly can. I'm running this administration with fiscal conservatism in mind. It means that when faculty members and staff members says, Dr. Dubroy, there's nowhere else we can cut. And we look through all of the operations. I got a GL listing of every single expense that we had from the university for 2 years prior. And because of that optimization, we were able to cut 16% of Shaw University's expenses just in 1 year. It didn't come easily because what it meant was that we had to restructure the organization. There were some levels of the organization that were causing us to be too vertical. And so we had to take out one level out of the organization. But I'm also committed to the quality of life of our faculty, staff, and students. In 2011, our faculty and staff took a 5%, 7%, and 10% pay cut. They took that pay cut in order to shore up finances for the institution. And with some of the savings, this year we were able to reinstate the pay. Not pay lost wages, but reinstate the salaries. Because we have too many of our faculty and staff that made the sacrifice and nobody had committed on pen to giving them back that loss from their salaries, and so we were able to do that with our cost savings. With a $4 million gap, cost savings alone would not bridge that gap, and so I reached out and did speed dating within the community. I had to call on people who I had never met, and unlike what fundraisers are taught to do, I had to make friends very quickly, state what it is I was facing at Shaw University, the type of help that we needed, and rally responded. We saw stakeholders giving us $200,000 in unrestricted funding to be able to move the needle at Shaw University. Even up until the last or 11th hour, we were able to secure a grant from the A.J. Fletcher Foundation, a matching grant for $200,000, and we were asked to engage our alumni to match it, and we did, and they matched it and exceeded the match $226,000 within the last month of the fiscal year. Because of that, we closed the gap, and after experiencing 2 years of losses, meaning a loss in net assets on the balance sheet, this year, Shaw University will be in the black. It is one of those things where, for those of you who are spiritual in this room, I've got to stay on my knees in prayer, but faith without works is dead, so I've got to be working at it too. And we're continuously working to ensure that we are sustainable at Shaw. Make no bones about it, I'm not getting to do this with all the smiles on the campus. You know, there are a few faces that are not smiling and a few faces that say, hey, you know, where are we going with this thing? But honestly, in order to do an overhaul of this kind, I knew that there were some friends that I was not going to have. We are revamping our academic programming. We're criticizing ourselves. We're saying, okay, what makes sense, what doesn't? Why are we offering these majors? And will these majors be able to make an impact in the workforce? And for those majors that have not shown to reap a return on investment in a college education for our students, we're cutting them out. We've got to. We are committed to being responsive. Shaw University is not going to take 10 years and be a reactive institution. We've got to be a higher ed institution that leads, and we're committed to doing just that. We're doing campus improvement projects now. Some of the funds that we received last year from the Cannon Foundation, for example, the Pope Foundation, we got those monies and they were restricted to certain campus projects. So we're using those funds now in order to be able to put out some lipstick on our buildings. And then there's increased research. Lionel Morgan, for example, was in the papers because his research project related to measuring noise levels in downtown Raleigh. He did something practical. You know those noise ordinances that were recently passed and everybody had something to say about it, to critique the city on how it is that it should have been implemented? Well, Lionel did something about it. He created a device that measures the noise, but then, not only that, but it compares the noise level to something that we can all be familiar with. So instead of saying something is 120 decibels or whatever it may be, instead of that, it is compared to children playing in the park, or loud party going on next door, or ambulances, 10 ambulances coming through downtown Raleigh. So it makes it much easier for a police officer to come on site and have a layman's comparison of what the noise level is. How do we do it? How do we manage to move Shaw University's needle exponentially? We first had to make sure we had an entrepreneurial leader at the helm. I'm committed to ensuring that we exhibit entrepreneurial excellence in everything that we do at our university. I came to Shaw after climbing the ranks through corporate America and leading my own successful startup. I want to tell you that after graduating from NC State, I wanted to teach. And I wanted to give back to Shaw University, but they did not have a teaching position. So I went to corporate. And I was working in Pasadena, Texas, in coveralls every day, looking like a mechanic. But I was a PhD chemist working down in Pasadena and creating what are called Ziegler-Natta catalysts. They're used in the polyolefins industry. And while down there, a VP for the business side came down to me and he said, Tashni, what do you want to do within the next 5 years at BASF? I am an opportunist. And so when he asked that of me, I said, well, I'll get back to you with a presentation, no problem, that I'll be able to fulfill that. I went back to him, and not only did I tell him what I wanted to do in 5 years, but I also told him what BASF wasn't doing to gain market share in the polyolefins industry. And because of that, he accelerated my 5-year plan into a 9-month plan. He moved me to the business side of the company, where I was working as a process optimization specialist or global technology analyst, with various sites, not only within the Americas, but also in Europe. And we were just trying to see how it is that we could get the companies we acquired, in particular Engelhart, on board with BASF's mantra of doing things faster, better, and cheaper. And so that's where I learned about process optimization. I've done procurement, chemical procurement, and learned the contractual negotiation skill set there as well. So I come back to Shaw University, and I did not expect to use all of these corporate skill sets, coming in as a chemistry professor, but I realized that I am. And so much of what it is that we do on Shaw University's campus, we're approaching it from a business mindset. We want to ensure that as we move ahead, that we're including the Raleigh community in that move as well. We want to ensure that we have multiple stakeholders at the table. If you have not visited Shaw University in over 15 years or never at all, come on board on our campus. I'd love to give you a tour. We want you to engage with us. We want you to consider Shaw University to be a part of the fabric of Raleigh, North Carolina, without whom the city cannot move forward. We want you to think of us as that partner that you need in order to move the needle. And if you invite me somewhere, I will show up. I might be 6 minutes late, but I will show up, I promise. We want to create new academic programs. So SAS Institute is now supporting us with creating a data analytics program using their software. We're committed to exploring cybersecurity, hospitality management, and as I mentioned, I think the most significant pain point for me is our dorms. I can't tell you how many times our students come asking, Dr. Dubroy, when are the dorms going to be renovated? And that is something that you can imagine, it's a huge capital investment. And so I'm constantly thinking about how it is that we will raise the funds in order to be able to renovate our dorms. But they have not been renovated in over 20 years. No new furniture, nothing has been done in over 20 years. So deferred maintenance out the wazoo. And we're committed to bringing corporate entities on our campus. There's some of you here who have been, others who haven't, but I invite you to come as well. And we are training brand ambassadors. I have listened when corporate has spoken, and some of what you've told me is that some of the students that we've sent to your organizations have not represented the Shaw brand very well. And so we had to look internally to see how it is that we could improve upon the leadership skills that we're teaching our students, how we get them ready to serve our corporate partners. And we're doing that much better. We've heard that from our government partners or small business partners and from corporate entities. They want our students. They're coming on our campus once more to recruit Shaw University students. If you don't know it, we have 8 locations from the mountains to the coast. 8 campuses, including Rocky Mount, Greenville, Wilmington, Fayetteville, Durham, Kannapolis, and Ahoskie, and of course Raleigh. Lately, we've seen very good progress with what we call our CAPE sites. These are adult learning centers, and we are going to be moving into the American Underground space for our Durham and Rocky Mount sites. So we expect to see quite a bit of partnership with the tech industry once we do that move. In closing, I know that you're celebrating your 102-year anniversary, and I want to leave you with some wisdom gained in my 34 years. Kidding, 35 now. Don't be afraid to go against the grain. That is something that I know that as I look at Shaw University's operations, I was committed to making bold moves to transform Shaw University into a stellar academic institution. I recognize that not all leadership decisions will be popular, but I was more interested in doing what is right and what's important for the sustainability of the institution once the team makes a decision. And if the team cannot make a decision that is going to be in tune or in alignment with what we have to do to shore up finances, then I knew that sometimes I'd have to stand alone. Embrace diversity in thought. Ensure that you have a kaleidoscope of voices at the table. I looked at Shaw University's diversity, and as I was asking corporate stakeholders to increase their diversity so that they could let more of our students in, I looked at ours as well. And I saw where we did not have a diverse cadre of students or faculty and staff. So now we have a metric for our diversity as well. We're saying, how is it that we increase the number of people, not only who have diverse ideas, diverse thoughts, but also from diverse races? Listen to the data, and I certainly do that. You can imagine being a chemist, but also listen to your heart. Because there are times when the data will say one thing, but your gut or your heart may inform the decision that you have to make. And readjust vision as needed without ever losing sight of your mission. And that's what we're doing. We are very careful not to have mission creep or mission drift. Because at the end of the day, we look back to our mission statement and we say, why are we doing this? And if we're not doing something that is in alignment with the mission, then we've got to get out of that practice. I congratulate you on the anniversary, and I thank you, leaders of our community, for your support. Thank you for rallying around Shaw University this past year. And I'm thanking you in advance for your continued support as we continue to transform Shaw University into a premier 21st century institution. Thank you.